So that was strategy. Now, your strategy is your overall story, okay? And there's a very significant difference between strategy and tactics because you have tactical planning.
Can I just ask, what is it that people are doing wrong with their strategy?
They don't have one.
They don't have one.
They don't have a story. And let's back up. Let's look at that again. You have to have you have to have a story about you. You have to have a story about your business, and then you have to have the story of your client, and you have to hold them together at the same time. You know what it's like to try to hold 3 stories together at the same time? You know that's a skill in itself, to be able to hold 3 stories at the same time and not go crazy. So you don't go crazy, you write it out. Because if you write it down, guess what? You can actually deal with it on paper. Notice people do blueprints because you can't hold all that information in your head and convey it well. So what do? You write it and you give it to someone. Notice, we use these things all the time if you're paying attention. Blueprints, maps, like a map is a model action plan. You ever think about it that way? You know, it gets you from here to there. I don't know where this stuff comes from for me, but that's where it is. Okay? So, tactics. Tactics are not there's not your to-do list. You have tactical plans. Like, to take that hill, we must do this, 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 and this. That includes your resources, your time, your talents, who's going to do it, when's it going to happen, when's it got to be done. That's a tactical plan. Notice, people say tactics, you think that's a to-do list. There's more to tactics than just the thing to do. You have to actually have tactics, which includes a tactical plan. So to handle the strategy, you have to have a tactical plan. And then guess what? Overall talk, overall story, then under that story is supported by the tactical planning. Into the tactical planning are the actual tactics. See, we didn't skip any steps here. So now if you're getting ready to go and you need some milk, okay? Baby's crying, needs some milk. That's the story. Well, why is she crying? Well, it could be this, this, and that. Well, me as dad, I'm in the story of being daddy and provider. Well, what do I need? I have to go to the store. How do I do that? I need a car. You see this? This is the thinking you really do go through when you get ready to go. I got to go get up, I get the keys, I got to get in the car. Does the car have gas? Notice all this stuff is happening, and you're not paying attention to this conversation going on in your own head.
Could you use the gardening example, like throughout this to kind of...
Sure. The gardening example for tactics. Well, let's look at...
You found the story example of your wife, how you found, you were able to relate as a customer when you saw her. Then you were talking about the strategy. Now we're getting into the tactics. If you can
we'll use the example, I mean, I have examples, stories. Okay. Tactically, okay, so I figured out that she had a problem with time and all that good stuff on the internet. So tactically, I knew what she was trying to do was do what? She was trying to find some information. I found out that she couldn't find it. There's something called the hidden web. There's like 10 to 15 terabytes of information which is currently on the internet that no one can find. And that stuff was created by the people who loved it, let's like wanted to put it out there, as opposed to people who SEO'd it well and got it within the top 10. Notice there's a thing between who said it and what was said. Okay? So the tactic that I used there, I found out her strategic plan was to get the information that she wanted. And that her frustration within that was that she couldn't find it. So to solve her problem, you just get her the information that she wants quicker and easier. Really, that's what you would want to do with AdWords. Do they want the red wagon or the red wagon with 4 wheels? And can you get it to them like that? That's really what that's where the thinking came from when I was working with her. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, you have your tactics, and that really goes into your planning. And if you don't, that thing, if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. That's really true. I mean, you hear these things and people just throw it out at you. It's kind of true. So pay attention to that. Okay? Now, the next part is, you got to move, do something. Okay, so what do you think this is? Actually take the action. You now have your strategy, you developed your tactics, you have your tactical planning in place, you've laid out step by step by step exactly what needs to be done. Now you must actually do something. And I don't care if it works or it doesn't work. If you do something, something will change because it either works or it doesn't. Just do something. Some of the biggest successes that I've had in my career is because I just picked up the phone. This whole Taguchi thing that I'm like known for in the marketplace right now, I was reading a magazine in a hotel room, and I saw the guy's name, and I went to the internet because there was no phone number and no website, and I Googled the guy, and I found him, and I called him, and I became the mentor. I mean, he became my mentor, and I was a student, and we're still friends. I can call the guy named Dr. Kowalik. Now, here's the line, which I really didn't have much value for before. You've all heard of Dr. Deming, correct? There's Dr. Deming, who taught Dr. Kowalik. No, Dr. Deming, who taught Dr. Taguchi, who taught Dr. Kowalik, because they were friends, who taught me. That's the line I'm in now, because I was sitting in a hotel room, read a magazine about, this whole thing that this guy took from manufacturing. He was using it for lead generation. He got a 7x increase, and I picked up the phone, and I called him, became a reseller for the software, and Perry bought some because I was excited about it. And all of a sudden, now I find myself in a situation that I'm like the guy who does this Taguchi stuff, but I'm not the Taguchi guy necessarily, because I'm a business development guy. This Taguchi thing was just neat. I thought it was something that would help me to do what? Get more leads. See, so it came from doing what? Seeing something and then taking action. Now, if you take this back to my wife, what I did is I looked at what she was doing, and I said, let me help you to learn how to search better. At the bottom of Google, if you notice, well, maybe you have or haven't, at the bottom on the left-hand side, it says search within results. It's at the bottom. So she was already where she needed to be. And if you go to the bottom and you say search within results, you can actually do another search within the searches you already did. And you actually can drill down within the search without getting frustrated by going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's right there. And if you look at the bottom of Google, it says search within results right at the bottom. Most people don't know it's there for some reason. Okay? And that was the action I had her take. So to alleviate the story that she was in of, this sucks, this is terrible, they have more information out here than I can ever get, they have 13 million entries. Okay? That's the long tail. Okay? Now, after you have done your thing, whatever that thing was, that's your strategy and your tactics, and the actions have now dictated, you have to look at the result. And that's it. Look at it. Don't get upset about it. Don't get worried about it. Either it worked or it didn't. That's it. You will get a result. And it will be it worked, or it didn't work, or it didn't make a difference. There's only 3 things a graph can do: up, down, or stay the same. That's it. And when you know that's all it can do, you can't get worried about anything else. So for us to get all concerned about, oh my gosh, this happened or that happened, or what do I do now, that is wasted energy. You get your strategy, you execute, you keep moving, and you look at it. Because after you've gotten a result, it's either yes or no. There's no halfway between, it kind of worked. Okay, if it worked a little bit in your favor, guess what? Pay attention, because that's something you need to amplify. If it didn't work or it went the wrong way, you can do 2 things there. Either you say, I put it back, start back at baseline, or if you're paying attention to what you're promoting into the marketplace semantically, like what are you saying, what is the story you're putting out there, if you do what I call the semantic opposite, meaning if you told everyone that they're going to make $10 million in 2 days, and you found out that didn't work, okay, because it sounds a little bit crazy. You'll lose $10 million in 2 days if you don't listen to what I'm about to tell you. Notice, it's the same thing, but you just went to the complete opposite of the meaning with the verbiage. You see what I'm saying? And what we found is this: as much as it will go down if you use the semantic opposite, it goes up the same degree. That's all we have. On the internet, you have a couple of things. You have words and images. That's it. You can't smell anything on your computer screen just yet. And moving words and moving images are called movies. I mean, I'm really simple on this stuff. I really don't get excited about it because there's only so much there. And what's there is there, and you can get hyped up into what someone is telling you is there, but sometimes it's really only what it is. And when you understand what it is, guess what? You can invent within it, and you can move it at a very fundamental and foundational level. Okay?